Hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm Shawnta, and my vision is to help people to help themselves and others. We are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. And today's conversation, my guest is David Lloyd Marcus, aka Dr. Ouch, and he's a non-traditional storyteller from South Baltimore. And so we'll talk a little bit about him, about just his projects. He's an independent, self-published author, and also he's a filmmaker. And what brought me, how I learned about him is he has this book, and I kept seeing this. There's some ladies out of Baltimore, Ask TY. They have a show that they do, and they were promoting him on their Instagram page. And I kept seeing this cover, and I was like, what is wrong with his? Like, okay, his skin looks different. And then I read more into it, and the title of the book is "I Had a Dream I Wasn't Black." And so I'm like, okay, hence, that's why the skin looks like that. So we'll talk a little bit to him about this book, but he also has another book, Relationships and the Life of an Alpha Male and different film projects. And so everyone, please do tune in, into your questions, your comments in the chat box. And it's a holiday weekend. I hope everyone is being smart and safe. COVID-19 is still here. It's still real. I just left a funeral service this week. Family members lost their mother and brother. So it's still real. And I'm just happy to be here. And again, thank you everyone for watching. And at this time, I'll bring in David Lloyd Marcus, AKA Dr. Ouch.
What's up?
Hey, sir, how are you today?
I'm feeling fantastic. How are you?
You know what? I'm grateful. I'm really happy. I made breakfast this morning for my son, or brunch, should I say. I made some pancakes, turkey sausage, and scrambled eggs. And the reason I did that, he's 16, and my goddaughter was visiting me for a month. And she's 6 years old. And that little girl did not have a cold breakfast. No cereal, none of that. And so every morning I cooked for her, and then she left. And he was like, oh, so since Zoe's not here, we don't.
I gotta go back to cornflakes.
Right, or fending for yourself, or eating the pizza from last night. And when I was out of town last night, he was like, yeah, I ordered some breakfast from this restaurant, and it wasn't that good. And so I was like, okay, hint, hint. So I got up this morning, and as I mentioned, I went home to Las Vegas to be moral support to my cousin. She lost her mom and her brother from COVID. And I'm happy to be my son's mother. And I'm, and they were so strong, and just the memories that they have of their mother and the things that they had to say, it just makes you feel, just a little bit different. And you want to cherish those moments.
You do. Like, all of this COVID stuff us should be having us recognize what we take for granted, things that we take for granted, so I get it.
Yeah, definitely. And so what's going on with you right now? You said that you're taking a break from filming to chat with me.
Yeah, look, the team is in the other room right now. We're editing a banger. We got a hot new feature film coming out this September called Life of an Alpha Male. And that's based off of my second book.
Okay. And so tell us about the book, Life of an Alpha Male.
Life of an Alpha Male is about this guy. I always say, and my lead actor says this, that it's a story that's never been told before. We've had the Christian Grey, we've had the Eddie Murphy and Boomerang, we've had the How to Be a Player, we've had all of those stories of kind of men interacting with women. But this guy, The Life of an Alpha Male, is about this guy that has this it factor. And he's losing his family, so he goes to see this non-traditional therapist, this unorthodox therapist, who, I don't want to give too much of it away, but he basically is like glued to her hip for 30 days. And she does all of these techniques to help him see himself and his issues with women. And along with that, she learns a few things. So as the story goes on, and it unfolds, let's just say they both understand one another by the end of the film.
Okay, and it actually sounds pretty interesting. And how do you plan to showcase this? Will it be available for streaming in theaters?
It'll be, well, we're actually having a premiere here at Hoyt's movie theater on West Nursery Road in September. I'll be announcing the date soon. But then we have some plans for, we've been talking to some networks already that are interested in the film. So we'll let that cat out the bag once it's locked. But it's definitely a hot and steamy film.
Okay. And so for those of you who are watching, it will be released in September, the premiere in person in Baltimore City.
Yes, it will. So definitely follow me and stay tuned to the release for that.
Okay, so you have another film that's out as well. I saw some promo feature for that, and it's about relationships.
Yes. This one is called Walking. That one is called Walking My Shoes. And that one is about this couple. It's about therapy. I'm real big into the psyche of people, and people that follow my work just understand that I'm real big on that. And this one is about a couple that goes to see this counselor, but that does this mentality switch. That's the only way he counsels couples. And so throughout the film, the man is operating and thinking like a woman, and vice versa. And they get a better understanding of one another as well by the end of that film, because they understand the plight, the needs, and wants of the other better. That's why that counselor does that. That's premiered at Hoyt's 2. That's going to be June 4th and 5th. So you can follow me for that too. I'll give away how to see it by the end of this.
And then how, as far as for those of us who are not located in Maryland, how will we be able to access that film?
That film will actually be available on YouTube starting July.
Okay. And so back to the life of an alpha male. I had a previous interview with Dr. Theodore Ransaw, and PhD, and his research is on Black manhood, malehood, and he does a lot on the alpha male. And he was explaining to us that usually the alpha male is not the good-looking, tall, dark, and handsome person. The alpha male is usually the person, or at least in this animal kingdom with the apes, the alpha male is usually the one that learns from the elders, and they're the ones that kind of they're the wiser person, and usually the good-looking tall person works for the alpha male, and so the alpha male is usually not what we think about in society, or what Hollywood has made us to think what an alpha male is.
So, and it's interesting that you say that, because wisdom is one of his traits. I put a little spin on it, and I also highlight that looks have absolutely nothing to do with it. But I still go into what separates him from the average guy, kind of like he does in research, and kind of show that it's not what you think. I clear up all misconceptions on his appeal. So in the film, you'll see as it develops where his appeal comes from, because I believe that some of the ladies and men watching, because I talk about it in the film, it's a draw to him. It's not even just always the romantic connection between a man and a woman. It's men as well are drawn to this guy to follow.
Yes, because some people, like you said in your intro, he has the it, and some people, and that's what it is. And your it is your gift. And if you recognize, and you have to be self-aware to people out there and recognize what your it is, and then embrace your it and take it with you, right?
And along with that comes responsibility. Like, that's what the therapist tries to help him see in the film, to walk with that it responsibly, because it can get you in some trouble too.
Okay, so let's see who's everyone. Again, we're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for checking in. Okay, so your book, I Had a Dream, I Wasn't Black. Tell us a little bit about this fictional story and how it came about.
What did you feel when I heard you mentioning when you saw the cover? Before I go into it, what did you feel when you saw the cover? Were you confused, or were you like, what is going on here?
Yes, I was very confused. So everyone, again, as you can see, Mr. Ouch's David's skin color, and he's not the skin color. And I was looking, and I was just like, "What? That is an ugly picture. What is that's honestly?" And I was like, and like I said, ask Ty. They were promoting the book,
Mm-hmm.
and then I said, well, maybe he has some type of skin condition, or like I wasn't like I didn't know. Then I had to go, really look into it. But it's not to me, it was like a what is that? And but it made me curious to read
Good.
and to go to your website to learn more.
Right. I wanted the shock value with that. So I had a dream I wasn't black is a concept that I came up with many years ago. But just after the whole George Floyd incident, which changed the world, and how a lot of people looked at racism and race relations, and just kind of the plight of what black men could possibly go through in this country. I wanted to do like a creative story to provoke thought, but in a creative way and from a different perspective. So that's when I was like, what if I can, like, how do I make an impact or a change? Because it's frustrating as a black man sometimes seeing the things and trials that we go through, and you see people marching, and you see Colin Kaepernick kneel and what happened to him, and it's frustrating sometimes, like how to make a difference or impact when you want instant change because you're sick of something happening. And then that's when I'm real big on personal development, like reading and listening to different speakers. So that's all throughout my work too. So I was like, you know what? My impact can be influencing and sharpening the minds of my people, but kind of doing it in a way where I'm speaking from the perspective of the people that hate me, which is the white supremacists. And I'm like, I can show them mocking certain behaviors and ways and strategies they use to influence our minds to make us think twice and recognize the game that's going on. Because a lot of game is going on that we overlook just because what's our normal.
Okay. And at the last sentence in the description of the book, it says, this story of oppression should be empowering to Black Americans for years to come. And if you're taking the place of the mindset of a white supremacist and we're in that meeting, what are we talking about?
What I'm doing, I run through things that plague our community. I run through things like mass incarceration, and I talk about how it was strategically done. And I talk about drug issues. I talk about um, the plight between the black man and the black woman. I talk about the black church. I talk about a lot of sensitive subjects, but I address them again in a creative way. And what I tried to do the most was provoke change through the conversation and through you seeing again how we're being mocked in some ways that we behave that don't help us too much at all.
And so the work that you present, because you're basing it off of the Willie Lynch letter,
Right.
or is there's a comparison, and so did you base this off of this book off of any research?
Not research, because I did not, other than leading people to and setting the introduction up around the Willie Lynch letter, and then encouraging people to go read it before they read the book so they can understand the mind control. But then I wanted to bring it to modern day things, but where it was an entertaining story and not too heavy, where you can use kind of common sense to see, oh, because I thought of, like, I had in mind the audience really was HBCUs, like young blacks in their 20s that haven't lived as much yet, but are listening to the hip hop and things that influence us in a negative way, and men that are incarcerated, men and women incarcerated. So while they're sitting still, they can look at behavior and come out, like I said, empowered or change some behavior. So I wanted to do it in a relatable way. Sometimes the heavy books don't reach everybody when it's so fact driven. Like I was reading a book that kind of inspired me to write this book called The Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it was a certain point once all these statistics and I kept reading stats, it got like redundant. It was like, okay, I hear the statistics, I see this. Like it wasn't so much relating to things I was going through now. So I just tried a different approach with that.
Okay. And you encourage folks before they read your book. I had a dream I wasn't a black. Excuse me. I had a dream I wasn't black. To read the Willie Lynch letter first. Could you give us like a little synopsis of your interpretation of the Willie Lynch letter, just in case others are not familiar?
Right. Well, it's the Willie Lynch letter, and it's a controversial letter because some people say it's not true. But whether it really happened or it didn't, you can see the effects today, everything that they talk about in the letter. So it was this meeting supposedly in Jamestown where someone that was basically showing how to control slaves. And they said, look, they're outnumbering us on plantations, but the way you can keep them in control is through these mind control techniques. And then they just run down different ways of how to put the black woman against the black man, um, how to make the black woman not respect the black man as much, how to make them feel powerless, how they took away reading, the reason why they don't read, and different things. And it's like you can kind of look at, and then they, in the end of the letter, they say, if we do this effectively, it will go on for 300 plus years with them having these behaviors that we're actually pushing and that they don't even recognize it. And so I do the same thing and tie it with the things I talk about in this book today. And I've been getting excellent feedback from it.
Perfect. Thank you. And thank you for that explanation. And thank you for just, you have a gift and you describe yourself as a non-traditional storyteller. Yeah. And the fact that you actually have the courage and self-confidence and you're finding ways, whether it's self-motivation or being motivated from others. You talked a little bit about personal development, but congratulations and kudos to you for recognizing your gift and utilizing it and sharing it with others.
Thank you. And a lot of, like when you said personal development, is all throughout the book. Because in the meetings, I even talk about in some parts how, like, look, and I name a lot of speakers and people I listen to, and I say, we want to keep this information away from them so they won't get a hold of it. And I do it in that way because I'm hoping that people go seek the information that I'm talking about in the book.
And we have Gina Clark Hodgson. You know what? This is live and unedited and unscripted, and it happens sometimes. But we have Gina. She's checking in from Oakland, California, and she says when you were talking about how you bring in a lot of psychology and therapy and counseling into the work that you do, she says she loves the concept of incorporating therapy into your stories. Looking forward to checking out your books and films.
Thank you, Gina.
And then we have Val Jenkins checking in, and you know what?
That's my girl, Val.
Right. And so I have this show on Wednesday. It's called Connections. And Connections, it's more so professional networking, career advancement, and business growth. But speaking of connections in social media, you never know who you are connected with and how things just start to, just connect the dots. Because until now, I really didn't. Maybe a few weeks ago, Val, she posted a photo of your picture of your book and then my book and then Shalita O'Neill. So I've interviewed Shalita O'Neill in the past. Val has been a guest on my show. And everyone that's watching, Val Jenkins, she is the founder and executive director of a nonprofit organization in Baltimore City called Hug Don't Shoot. And then also Val, she told just her personal story of how, she gives back, but at the same time, she has her own health issues and her own life experiences, rape more than once, blindness and tumors and just different things that she's been diagnosed with, but at the same time she still travels, she still has the most upbeat spirit, and so it's nice to know that you and I are both connected to her.
Yeah, shout out to Val. And like you just nailed it. I just want to piggyback on that because Val, definitely her spirit and just her passion for what she does. I love it. She's about the people.
And so so thank you everyone for tuning in. And then also we have Carla, she's checking in from Virginia. And so thank you everyone. And for those of you who are just tuning in, I'm playing engineer over here. Again, I'm chatting with David Lloyd Marcus, aka Dr. Ouch. And how many books have you published?
4.
So 4 books.
Right, and I was a ghostwriter for a 5th. But yeah. 4.
Okay. So 4 self-published books and another project that you worked on and you supported. And how many films do you have out now?
This is my 2nd feature will be out. We're finishing up with that now. My 2nd feature will be out this fall.
Okay. And everyone, you can learn more about David and his books at his website is on the screen, dr-ouch.com. And then also you can follow him on Instagram at dr.ouch, Instagram dr.ouch. And I like to repeat it because I know some people may have visual issues or impairments, or they may just be listening to the show. So let's talk about this relationships.
Yeah, that this book is making the most noise of all of my books, and it hit hard right away. I was proud to say for a good week I did a free promotion on Amazon for just to see what the book would do for relationships, and it was #1 in love and romance and #1 in marriage and relationships for a week on Amazon. So yeah, this book is something that people seem to be relating to very well, because in modern day relationships is a lot different than when I was coming up or my grandparents were coming up. And I just talk about how overall, I gotta say overall, because people always say not me. The relationship game is a joke to me overall, between social media, between how the side chick and affairs are so glorified, between just so many toxic behaviors glorified now. You can see memes everywhere where people say I'm a headache, I'm toxic, I'm like, I just put that mirror in front of you in this book and run down everything from situationships on down. Baby mother, baby father is a chapter that's every show I'm on, every time somebody reads it, my feedback says, if you don't see yourself somewhere in this book, you're lying. So yeah, it's straight in your face, like everything else that I write.
Okay. And Carla, she says, yes, it's all a fraud. Okay, so
right.
so let's talk about this. Let's just agree to disagree in advance on something.
Oh, yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, so how do you what's your ideal relationship?
Ideal would just be a relationship that starts and is founded in truth and transparency, which I believe a lot aren't. So we can agree to disagree there. I believe a lot of times as a representative up front, and then as you get into the relationship, you start to learn the real person. And there's a lot of skeletons are sometimes there. So I believe transparency would be one, a relationship like where you're lovers and friends. Like, and I know it's different for everybody. I know it's subjective, but for me, I hear people say all the time, like, it's a partnership and it's like a business. I'm like, that's cool. Like, but don't you want to have fun? Don't you want to enjoy the person that you're with in a relationship? Instead of people a lot of times finding their joy outside of the relationship, but they find that person that might have the credentials, the degrees, or a lot of things on paper to have kids with in a family, but they're still having fun a lot of times elsewhere. And I think the ideal relationship where you can get both. And I don't think a lot of people have that. I think that's why divorce rate is high. And I think if you kind of sit down, even a lot of times the couples that you feel as they say, relationship goals, when you dig into it or you get close enough, you find out some things.
I don't disagree with anything that you said. And so I think with relationships, sometimes we base how things should be off of what society says. And then if some of us were raised in religious homes, whether you're, depending on what your religion is, but most of us in this country, at least, have been raised in Christian households. Mm-hmm. And what comes to my mind is I never was taught by anyone or to wait until you're married to have sex, or wait until you're married to do certain things. And I don't necessarily agree or disagree with that. I mean, everyone make your own personal decision for you. But I do think that it's important to wait, and not just wait on sex, but just wait until you commit yourself and your life and join with someone else. Yeah. I think a lot of times as younger people and as older, even just I'm 40, some people, we rush into it. And so that's when you find, in my opinion, the representative. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things as far as the transparency, people have to become comfortable. So there's trust. And in community engagement, I work in the field of public health, community engagement, community building. And one of the things that you have to do when you're going into a community and you want to work with them on a certain issue and issues that they identify, there's an approach where it's called participatory. So participatory means that it's not you coming in and making all of the decisions. Mm-hmm. You're doing it together. You're making the decisions together on what and you're identifying what the needs and the strengths are, and agreeing on some. You're creating a program together. Right. And you're doing interviews, you're doing focus groups, but all of that. But that beginning of that phase, it's building trust. Mm. And building trust with someone. You sometimes don't go straight into doing the work. Sometimes it's attending their community events to learn about the people. So this is going to observe and to look at someone's family, right? Mm. So the same thing with dating. Right. Pay attention to it. So it's the same concept. So we're talking about business, but think about the business models and community engagement and those type of relationships. I think we should be doing the same. We should be paying attention to, their mother, their father, or the type of relationships that they have or don't have. Some people didn't grow up with their mother and father. And even if they did, was it a healthy relationship or not? And you pay attention to certain things, and then credit, I could not see myself moving into a home with someone and not knowing their credit history. Right. In advance. I don't want to have sex with anyone until we have a conversation about our sexual health history and our medical history. And even not just about sex, I don't want to marry someone who doesn't care enough to take care of himself. And I'm marrying you, and then prematurely, here I am taking care of some prematurely aging man because he won't go to the doctor to get an annual physical or, to his regular checkups that are recommended, So I'll step back, and I think you have a lot to say, but I'll step back and see what you have to say about
Look, I think you should do exactly, you sound strong in your position. I think you should do exactly what you said. I'm just curious to, how do you have those conversations? Do you have them early, or do you have them like on the first date or so? Like, because I've talked to a young lady before that told me that she won't have sex with a man until she sees his HIV test. And she said she flat out will ask for it. So I'm just interested. It's not even like I agree or disagree. I'm just interested in hearing you say that. How do you go about having those conversations? Like at what flow in this seeing a guy? Do you have
You know,
any?
it depends on and I don't disagree with her, and it depends on just, I guess, your chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want it to seem like it's an interview, like I'm quizzing him and he's quizzing me. But
Okay.
so what I've learned to do from the very beginning is to ask a guy, not even if you're single,
Mm-hmm.
are you legally married? Are
Right.
you divorced? Like, you gotta like dig.
Look. That's a real question right now, and that's what
Hey.
with relationships today. That's a real question you need to ask.
So let me tell you about this guy. He's probably watching. So he seems really cool, really nice. We have a lot of different things in common. We're okay with, are you okay with, going to the doctor to have a physical, blah, blah, blah. I mean, a HIV STD test.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. And so then the Derek Jackson thing comes out.
Mm-hmm.
When Derek Jackson, for all of you who are watching who are not familiar with Derek Jackson, so he's like some self-proclaimed relationship guru who just recently got into some little issues because his side chick went public and said that he was a liar, blah, blah, blah. But all the time, but he's married and he has a wife and kids. He has a family. And so the side chick was okay with him leaving his wife and his family and his kids to be with her. And so I was like, who would be okay with that? You're okay with taking a child? I mean, taking a father away from children? Like, you're okay with that? Then I was like, well, first of all, he's not available. This is me talking to the guy. I'm like, well, first of all, he's not even available. If he was married, she could have told him, just wait till you're not married anymore. If that's the truth, then call me later. And if I'm still interested in you, and if there's a chance, then we can see then. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well. And I said, well, what? Well, technically, I'm not legally, I'm legally married. I'm not legally separated.
And you had no clue?
No. And I said, so when were you going to tell me this? And then I'm like, do you not know who and now I'm offended now, but you kind of built the courage up to say things like this. I wouldn't, as the woman I am now, I feel more confident just with my refusal skills and my rebuttal skills, just saying it right off bat versus in the past, I would have to kind of like think about it and figure out how to say it and being a people pleaser and saying it the right way and all that. But I was like, well, do you know who I am? I'm Shawnta Jackson. I said, are you serious? I said, is that what you think I deserve of all the things? Like, if you're going to step to me, you need to come to me correctly. I can't believe that you would do that. And I was like, we can't talk anymore. He was like, we just can't, nothing. We can't be friends. I was like, no, go get divorced.
Well, at least y'all are still friends where he can watch your show, right?
Hey.
Yeah, look, and all of what you just, now, do you see how that happened? And you said you Shawnta Jackson, right? And that happened to you. That's why I talk about the things that I talk about. Because I'm like, I kind of bring the underworld, the dark world to light. And I don't even do it in a judgmental way because I'm speaking from experience because I've done it all. So I'm like, speaking from this, like, don't do what I did. Like, you can lose this way. I'm extremely vulnerable in this book. I even talk about like with the things that people don't really want to talk about. Like, I talk about how it is with the baby mamas and having the kids and the result of my lifestyle and how the pain that I feel and the hurt that I feel and the losses, like seeing my kids on weekends and things like that. Because I'm crazy about my kids. So I'm very brave. I get that a lot when people respond to me and they say, thank you for being so brave, because by you exposing yourself, that'll help me.
Mm-hmm. And Gina says, when I'm ready, I usually share my results and hope he follows suit. And
so what does she mean? She'll just kind of be on date number 3 and just go slide it over the table like, look, how does that, I'm just curious how that works. That's never happened to me before, of all of the things I say I've experienced.
Let's do something different.
You bring it on?
I'm going to share the link in the chat box. And if anyone wants to join in, you are more than welcome to. So Gina, if you want to chime in and click on the link and you'll be behind scenes and I'll bring you on and you can answer Dr. Alch's question, David's question. And Carla, she says, this whole topic right now would be a great podcast or live audience participation. And I definitely agree.
Don't say that, because my partner right over there, when I get off, he's going to say, I told you we need a podcast. That's what he's going to say.
Or let's do a show.
Yeah.
I'll be your co-host. No, not a podcast. No, let's do an event at a theater or something. But my only thing is, because of COVID, I would just, every other seat, just to, the socially distance guidelines. That's
good conversation is necessary.
Okay. And Gina, she's answering your question and she says, LOL, I've sent it in a text and typically they'll get the hint and it opens up the discussion. Okay. And I don't think it's okay. For me, I'll just say, so when was the last time, how I usually start the conversation is, so when was the last time you had unprotected sex? Okay.
That's a smooth segue. Okay. I got you. I'm looking how you work.
Yeah, or I'll say, so do you like to use condoms, or so when was the last time you had unprotected sex? Okay,
and then he'll lie, but go ahead.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
And he maybe not. And then just when was the last time you got tested? All right, then okay, a year, 2 years, and all that, right? And so then are you open to like if you and I decided that we would be intimate, are you okay with us going to get tested? And usually I haven't had any pushback. Like I've gone with someone, not just let me see your results and I'll show you mine, but we've gone together to get tested.
Okay.
But I'm not a baby maker, and I'm one of those holistic, natural persons, and so I'm not I talk about sexual health, and I've actually had a few episodes on sexual health and HIV and PrEP and all those different things. And so I'm not a baby maker. I don't use hormonal birth control because I just don't like to put hormones in my body, not even from the food that I eat.
Okay.
And so I'm going to use a condom anyway. And I'm not in a monogamous relationship, right. And I'm not in a committed relationship with anyone to where I feel comfortable. Like we're not doing that because, yeah.
Wise. That's wise. Especially like to not trust him, because if you ask him when the last time he used a condom, he gonna answer however he needs to answer.
But it is
next step, yeah.
But regardless of what he says, and I'm not judging him. So this is the thing. So you talk about the transparency, and I mentioned the building trust. I'm not asking questions to judge anyone, because there are some people that may have a sexual history, a STD test or HIV test or hepatitis or whatever, and it may come out unfavorable. Mm. And I think that we shouldn't, I don't like us saying someone's clean, someone's dirty, and all those different things, because someone might have an unfavorable test but you know what? There's someone for everyone. Yeah. So it can be someone, and we just have to get used to, as adults, as people, and our children, that everyone might not accept you for who you are, but you want to be with someone that accepts you, and you don't want to go into a relationship lying. It may take a few people, and you may feel uncomfortable, you may be embarrassed or whatever, but I'm not asking someone to judge them. I'm asking a person their sexual history and their HIV status so that I can make an informed decision for myself, and I wouldn't ever want to take that away from anyone either. Right.
Just like somebody shouldn't take away from you the truth of, hey, just letting you know before we start dating, I'm still legally married. It's the same. The truth needs to be told all the way around. So I agree.
And we have Kevin Lang checking in from Las Vegas, and he says that's an icebreaker. When's the last time you had unprotected sex? Is that the one you were talking about, Kevin? And then Carla, she says, go to Walgreens and get a home STD test. Yes, there are home tests available. And Chantel, she's checking in. Chantel's in Baltimore, and she says we have to get comfortable having these conversations. And yes, we do. And we have to be emotionally strong enough So this is not just about HIV, STDs, but even just your relationship status, your marital status, your how many kids you have, whatever it is. Who you are is who you are, and you have to be okay with and be emotionally strong enough to know that not everyone wants to date you. Not everyone wants to be in that situation. Not everybody wants to date someone with kids or more than one child. Mm-hmm. And some people, like me personally, I prefer to date someone with children because I don't want any more kids.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's like you said, I want to reiterate, like, tell the truth about everything. Like, Shawnta, you're an attractive girl. I would tell you anything, like what I really like and want. Guys, why would I want to be fake and uncomfortable with you for 6 months, knowing we might not be compatible anyway by me just telling you who I am? I want to know right away how we mesh and don't mesh. But people are afraid of that, or people not even just afraid. People don't want to ruin the opportunity of getting a chance to get close to somebody. And I just don't believe in that. I think you should just be who you are. That's how you find out who's for you and who's not for you.
I agree. And if you are not comfortable with yourself, and if you think that you have to go into any situation, any friendship, any type of relationship, and if you feel that you have to put on a representative or not be yourself, then that says something about you as a person. It says something about your self-esteem, about your self-confidence, about your character. Yes. So that's just food for thought.
Let me shout out Chantel too. I only know her through social media, but she's one of my readers and gave me a great review on relationships. So shout out Chantel. They just comment.
Yeah. Yes, Chantel Randolph. And Kevin, I put a link in the chat if you want to come on and chime in. But I thought we were going to have more. Oh, he's talking about kids. Anyway. Oh.
He's talking to you. Let me find out. Okay. You got him coming on the live talking.
Yeah, true player for real. I told my son yesterday, I was like, ask Puff Daddy. Seriously, I'm single. I can do what I want.
Okay.
And I'm okay with saying that, And then as far as relationships, sometimes our structure with how we think relationships should be, like I believe in monogamy, and when it's time for me to commit to one person, I will never disrespect that person. Okay. But I'm not easy to get into a relationship with because it's my life and I'm growing as a person, and you want someone that you can grow with and not someone that you can outgrow. I have just certain dreams of places that I want to travel and things that I want to do. And not everyone is there or prepared to actually do it. And then just naturally, like you said, so about the whole sex, guys are going to tell me whatever, right? But they'll say the same thing about just kind of just where they're at in life and the things that they're willing to do. And I share my dreams and my aspirations, and they'll share theirs. And just naturally, because of the person that I am, I'm going to support you. I'm a resource. So anyone that's around me, whether it's a friendship, a business relationship, whoever it is, you're going to benefit from being around me because I'm resourceful. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to basically it's not that I'm calling your bluff, but for guys, that's kind of what it is. Like without me intentionally doing that, just naturally being resourceful. And then you start learning like, oh, they were just saying that. They're not serious. They just, but ladies, that's why we don't rush stuff. That's why we give the person the time. You spend time with them. And when the person shows you who they are, you believe them. Stop you can't change anyone. You can support and grow with the person. Mm-hmm. And it should be mutually beneficial, but you can't change someone. You can't, especially at this age, we should not be going off of potential. It should be, I want to accept you for who you are for right now in your life. And so.
Or not.
Right. Or not.
Right.
Right.
And that's fine. And the person should, like, you did them a favor too. It was like, I'm going to let you go ahead and find the perfect match for you because I'm not it.
Okay. And Carla says that we're wild today. How, Carla? How? And she says, go ahead and get that podcast going. She's talking to you. And she says, and have my special guest chair waiting.
Look, Carla, if you think this wild, read relationships. So,
yeah, so everyone, what we're talking about and how we even got on this conversation about relationships is Dr. Ouch's or David's book, Relationships, which is available on his website. And his website is drouch.com, dr-ouch.com. And he has his self-published books available on his website. And Kevin says, but I need a resourceful woman that wants forever, not just resources, but of course. Yes.
Kevin the man. Go ahead.
He like moving.
he worked. I like it.
Okay.
I love it though.
Well, I know you're filming and you're taking a break and you have your team they're waiting for you. So I really do appreciate the time that you took to just have this unscripted conversation with me. And Kevin has one final question for you. He wants to know, where did Dr. Ouch come from?
Because two things, double entendre. One, a doctor gives you what you need, not what you want, because I believe that everybody tells you what you want to hear. And two, because the truth hurts. So that's where, and a lot of my work and a lot of my books is like I said, in your face and raw and straight up. And that's where the ouch came from, because the fact the truth does hurt sometimes, but I believe is what we need.
All right. And again, everyone, David Lloyd Marcus, aka Dr. Ouch, and his website is drouch.com. And of course, you can follow me on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel at the Shawnta Jackson. And then also you can visit my website at shawntajackson.com to learn more about me, and tune in on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, it's all about connections, professional networking, career advancement, business growth. And I have various speakers that I've actually recruited, even though I may know them from other circles. And naturally, you connect on one platform, then you connect on another. But all of my guests I've recruited from LinkedIn. And so if you're interested in connecting with me on LinkedIn, my screen name is on the screen. It's Shawnta Jackson, MPH. And everyone, thank you and have a great Saturday. Danielle Brown, everyone keeps checking in. Danielle, she said, this is so good. Danielle is in Baltimore as well. Yeah. And so shout out to CYEYC, Cody Young, Youth Empowerment. Oh, I just messed her whole title up for her nonprofit organization. But she has a nonprofit. Her son, Cody, he died of senseless gun violence, and she's decided to commemorate and continue his honor by helping other youth in Baltimore City through her nonprofit, CYEYC. So we have Danielle Brown checking in, and she's a former guest on the show. And Carla says for you to please trademark Relationships. Great show. That's your show. That's your podcast right there.
That's it. Thank you so much, everyone.
All right. So y'all have a good day and be safe out there.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
All right.